What's going on, fight fans? Thank you guys for tuning in to another edition of the main event right here on Franchise Sports Media. I'm your host, Kalani along with my co-host, Griff and Kemp. Griff, my man, how we doing today?
It's another great one. It's another great one here in Las Vegas, baby.
It is another great one, and it is in Las Vegas. And Griff, you know, they call this the fight capital of the world. So, you know, if you have some issues with another guy, this is the perfect place to settle today.
No better place.
Speaking of settling scores, Triple G, Gennady Golovkin, Canelo Alvarez, two of the greatest boxers of our times, going at it for a third, 1, 2, 3 times to settle their score. Griff, what do you make of Canelo Triple G 3?
I mean, big fight. Big fight. Don't get it wrong. Nobody can say different. It is a big fight in the world of boxing. Here's what I want to ask you, though. What took so long?
Boxing.
What took so long? Boxing, right?
That's the word of boxing.
Why is it that a trilogy that was started back in 2017 is now not getting settled for the third fight, is not getting settled until 2022? And this is my problem with boxing. I truly believe one big issue boxing has, there's no urgency. There's absolutely zero urgency for certain fighters, and for other fighters, it's all there. Look at Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. The trilogy took 2 years to finish up. They got it all done, 2 years. They tied in the first one. Tyson Fury won the second one, and then obviously he won the third one. They were quick on that. They were really quick on that. And then you look at Canelo and Triple G. Canelo, arguably the biggest name in boxing.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. So why is it that when he and Triple G tied the first time, and then Canelo beat him the second time, they just stopped? They just absolutely stop, both men go their separate ways.
There's a reason why the UFC, mixed martial arts, has overtaken boxing, because Dana doesn't believe in the politics that goes into the world of boxing when it comes to setting these matchups. Now, don't get me wrong, there are issues, we'll dive into some of those a little bit later, on UFC having a political game, but for the most part, you're good, they're good, same division, you're fighting at some point. It's only a handful of times where it's taken them a long time to do it. One in particular has a fight to deal with that we're going to talk about later. But this one, I'm with you. It's unfortunate. You could say, okay, well, after Canelo, in a sense, was winning the second one, 0-1, tied the first one, which, come on, that should have been a Triple G one, but it sounded like somebody got some special bag money on the side with the judges with that clear, ridiculous score. But then you throw in the fact that, okay, I want to move on to fight somebody else. I want to try to move up to different weight classes. Triple G, maybe if I fight him again, needs to get a little bit older. All this that goes into it. Okay, we get it. But now it's here. There is no tomorrow. There is no, maybe next. Nope, it is here. Canelo Alvarez, Triple G, two of the best. Triple G is somebody who, when they first were started, this was his catalyst to superstardom. This was to cement his name as, yes, he's one of the good ones, but what if? What happens when he takes on the best? Well, he showed that I could hang and go toe-to-toe with the best. Some people, including myself, felt that he won the first one. The second one, I could see Canelo winning it, but I could also see Triple G winning it.
Exactly.
So now for this third one, Triple G has a new camp. He switched them up after a long time with his training camp, switched them up a couple of fights back, said, you know what? If I'm going to go after him one more time, make one last run at this title, I need to change some things up, get a different voice in my ear, different mindset, different eyes watching me, what I do in the ring. Canelo, we know what he's going to come in and do. We know that he's with his longtime trainers coming off of a loss. Not something we're used to saying for Canelo Alvarez, but his last time out, he did get defeated. How do you feel confidence-wise Canelo could come back? When he lost the first time in his career to one Floyd Mayweather, well, he went on a historic run. A little bit later in his career, though, where he's not the young pup like he was when he lost to Floyd, he's supposed to be the king of kings. Now that he's lost, do you think maybe his confidence is probably shaken up going into this one?
I think when you see that he did come off that loss, which again, urgency, why are we not giving that a rematch? I mean, that's big. But at the same time with him, he got the tie and then he did get the win. So you have to feel like he's coming into this fight with some type of confidence. I mean, he's proven, whether we want to agree or disagree, that he really did win that last fight. He did win. He does have a victory over Triple G. He's coming in. He's going against an opponent that he's familiar with. He's seen twice now in the ring. So I think he comes in and maybe, hey, if you're the king of kings, you're the king of kings because you got a little anger to you. You got a little pride to you. Maybe the king of kings has his pride hurt a little bit. He says, you know what? What better way to take out this hurt, this pain I feel after a loss, a blemish on my record, I'm going to go up to a boy who a lot of controversy was over our last bout. I felt embarrassed. I felt disrespected because I won and nobody gave me the credit. So he maybe come in here saying, Triple G, you're going to get it. I'm going to lay it on you. So I like Canelo. I like him in this one, but at the same time, I would love, what would shake the world up more than if Triple G comes in and he says, hey, here's a second one on top of that last one for you, boy.
I'll tell you what, for Triple G, if I'm in his corner, dude, you got to come in here looking to knock him out. Mm-hmm. The first 2 times we fought, you proved that you could box with him. And you can prove that as the fight goes on, you can keep coming and coming. There are spots where Triple G seemed to, I wouldn't say ran out of gas, but he took his foot off the pedal, where he wasn't pushing the action forward, where he wasn't being as aggressive as he should have been. This one, buddy, I need you to go out there and try to finish this dude. Go to the body early, because Canelo, as a counterpuncher, likes to move around. He likes to use angles, counter you coming in. Triple G, when he would go to the body on Canelo in the first 2 rounds, the first fight, when he went to him early, you notice the middle and later rounds, Canelo wasn't moving as much, became more of a stationary target. He didn't start going to the body until middle of the second fight, which allowed Canelo to stack those early rounds against him to get the decision. So if I'm Triple G, go to the body early, kind of like a Rocky movie. The body, Rock, the body. Body goes down, the head goes with it. But you got to be aggressive. Triple G has to know that this is his last hoorah. This is his last chance at one of the big fights. With his age, and so almost in a sense, I've beat everybody else. I've faced everybody else. Now, unless someone like a Terrence Crawford or Earl Spence, who, let alone talk about matches that take forever to get made.
Or ever.
It's one of those where you're like, okay, well, what are my other options? This is my chance out here to go out, finally get a victory over this guy, get the belts, get the big payday, get the recognition. But then for Canelo, as you said, I may want to go out here and put a stamp on it. I don't think Canelo's going to change up his thought process or his game plan, but it would throw Triple G off guard if Canelo was the aggressor. If Canelo came forward, he felt Triple G's power. He felt that overwhelming pressure of the Terminator coming after you over and over again. What if Canelo said, what if I flip it back on him? Bully to bully. Maybe now I come in and say, you know what? Let's see how you are fighting back. You brought up Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. What did Tyson Fury say when he fought Deontay Wilder after the first time? Oh, he can't fight going backwards.
He doesn't like getting pressured.
He doesn't like
walk up on him.
Exactly. And most big punchers, like a Triple G, don't like going backwards. So if Canelo was to apply that, we could see Triple G almost compute like, wait, this is not the formula. What is going on here? They boom, 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 boom. Whoa. So it might be a surprise. So if it's Canelo, do you tell him to be the aggressor? Because I'm telling Triple G, go in there and knock him out. Do you tell Canelo, Griff, if you're in Canelo's corner, go out there and shock this man and make him walk back? What are your thoughts? I'm telling Canelo, kill or be killed.
I'm thinking, either change up for both of these fighters is going to make for an interesting match. It's going to change up how they were in the first 2. And if I'm in Canelo's ear, maybe Triple G saw that you lost your last fight. He knows that maybe you got a little bit of anger. Maybe you're a little bit unsettled. You're not really confident right now. You're confident. You're Canelo. But, I mean, you're not as confident as Canelo usually is. And maybe that forces him to change up. And maybe Triple G understands that. And he prepares for that type of deal. Or he thinks Canelo's pride is going to make it so he doesn't change up. He said, no, that was a blemish. That was nothing. That was whatever. I'm not changing a damn thing. I think it's hard to judge, and I think that's in both of these fighters' minds, is how is he going to come at me? How do I need to change my style? What does my past couple fights say about me that he's going to take into consideration and really build a game plan against me? So either way, there's consequences, there's positives. I think Canelo's best chance, I think Canelo doesn't change it. I don't think he changes a thing. I think you go out, you do what you did that got you a tie and a win against this guy. And then for Triple G, I like what you said. Be the aggressor. This guy is literally the king of the mountain. You need to go out it. You need to come at him. You need to go to the body. You need to get him to not be moving around so much so that you can land some big punches. Do not let this go to decision. Don't let the judges have it in their hands. Get it done and shock the world.
Very much so. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out with this particular matchup. Third time around should be a charm. Will Canelo finally prove once and for all that despite it being close, I am the better fighter? Will Triple G show that, hey, despite being robbed the first 2 times, especially the first time, I'm actually the better fighter? We shall see how it all unfolds in Las Vegas.
Ooh.
Speaking of seeing how it unfolds, Griff, I don't know if you saw the news, but your big brother, your uncle,
My boy.
the Gypsy King, who loves to sing,
Yes, sir.
Tyson Fury. You know, he's been saying, hey, man, I'm the Gypsy King. I'm from England. Isn't there another boxer from England, a bodybuilder type, little pretty boy type named Anthony Joshua? He been ducking and dodging me, boy. I need you to come over here, get in this ring with me. Let's throw these knuckles. I don't already be Wilder. Come on, guy. Come on now. Joshua's like, hey, Chop, I'm not doing it, mate, this and that. But now, apparently Anthony Joshua agrees to terms to fight Tyson Fury December 3rd. Most likely it's going to be over there across the pond, unfortunately, but it makes all the sense in the world.
All the sense of the world.
For the king of UK, Anthony Joshua, against only one Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury.
That was good.
Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that matchup?
Boys in boxing do it different, dude. They do it different. This is weird. This is out of nowhere. Like Tyson Fury, don't get me wrong, any chance I get to watch the Gypsy King, I'm grateful for.
Fantastic.
But like Anthony Joshua, this made sense a few years ago, a couple fights ago. This is, my boy Alexander Usyk or Usyk. Is it Usyk or Usyk?
I know it's and still. That's what I know it is. And still the heavyweight champion of the world.
Anthony Joshua, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
What fighter in recent memory can you recall that fumbles the bag as much as Anthony Joshua?
Oh, no, wait, not him. No. It's the one guy. Remember his name was no, not him. No. Hold on. I got this one. Shoot, nope, can't think of anybody.
Oh, Anthony fumbles, boy.
Eat the popcorn before the fight. Like, buddy, it's right there. Stop eating the popcorn.
But now the boy, the Gypsy King, I guess he's feeling generous. I guess he's just saying, hey, I was retired. I was ready to just go out because who else is there left for me?
Very much so.
And he decided, you know what? You've had a hard time. You got your ass whooped a couple times. So you know what? Here, buddy. Let's go over to the pond. Let's go over to old Wembley Stadium and let's do it. Let's do it for the British people one time.
It's in December. It's the season. It's the season of giving. The most wonderful time of the boom. Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, as you said, would have been fantastic. Dynamite box office a couple years ago. As we said, boxing, why do you do this to us? Nonetheless, Tyson Fury, as you pointed out, I'm going to retire. Beat Deontay Wilder several times. Dylan White, there's no one else left for me out there. In fact, some people say he wants to retire so that he doesn't feel beholden to or shackled by the
You're trying to say sanction?
There we go.
There you go.
You got to forgive me. I got my tongue for Walmart. I'm still trying to break it in right now, okay? You got to forgive. It was a good deal, though. It was a good deal.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to feel beholden to them, saying, no, you got to fight this number one contender, this number two contender, this guy. All the while, I'm missing the guy I'm supposed to be fighting. But if I retire and then I vanquish the titles, I could come back for exhibitions. I could come out of retirement and fight this guy. Even though Joshua did lose the last two fights to Alexander Usyk. Hey, man, what do you want me to do? Usyk right now is talking about he needs time to heal up, doesn't want to fight. Fury probably has a timetable for, with my age and condition, as far as who I want to fight, because boxing's tough.
Yeah.
I want to fight these guys in this amount of time frame. So now he's going to fight Anthony Joshua. Look, first off, you talk about two behemoths, two giants. But then you talk about two total different spectrums of the scale. Tyson Fury looks more so like me, just super tall. Got the love handles on the side, got a little flab on the back, but let me tell you something, power in them fists. But then you look at Anthony Joshua, it's like, oh, you didn't get that from Planet Fitness. You 25.8 fitness centers where you going at. That dude looks like he lifts weights. He puts protein powder in his cereal.
He does.
When he eats. Tremendous power.
Tremendous power. Anthony Joshua, I don't hate him.
No, how can you?
You can't hate him.
He's a great guy. He's a very good guy. Charming personality.
Weird post-fight speeches sometimes.
Look, you just got punched in the face a whole lot, so I don't know if I can hold that a lot to you. And then I do mean a whole lot. Usyk was boom, 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 boom.
A little punch.
A little bit. But, it's one of those where you just say, even though it doesn't have the same spark as before, there's enough light there. And as we get closer to it and the buildup happens, there's going to be enough excitement there. And again, Wembley Stadium. Our stadiums here are fantastic.
Yeah.
Wembley Stadium, when they do that aerial coverage there and they show the entrance with the flames and the stands and all It's fantastic.
Sir.
Chills going up my body. I feel like Danny Zuko with the chills going up my spine. It is fantastic. Fury, Joshua. We'll dive more into it as it gets closer, but it is going to be phenomenal.
Phenomenal, baby.
Griffin, we say it in heavyweight division, and I'm praying this one happens.
Oh, please.
Former champions, Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz, might come to blows. Now, Andy Ruiz, who just beat Luis Ortiz, put out a message. Him and Wilder in the ring.
It was like a little baby's whisper.
Yeah,
something's going on. Something in the deep. What's going on there? Yep.
Wilder, Ruiz, 2 American heavyweight champions. The last 2 we've had in such a long time. One is tremendously powerful in Deontay Wilder with his punches. Andy Ruiz, who again does like the everyday common dude, but man, does he have the cardio, the hand speed, the power, and the chin stamina to take your punch and keep coming forward and say, no, brother, I'm gonna put you down. If these 2 were to get lock horns, that would be such a phenomenal matchup. Happens here, happens there, does not matter. Most likely it'll happen in Las Vegas.
As it should be.
It should. It's the fight capital of the world. But man, the world of boxing right now, especially in heavyweight division, it's starting to simmer. It's starting to simmer. Don't turn it over just yet, but it's starting to simmer.
It's getting spicy.
It's being real nice. Put a little garlic in there, throw a little butter in there, a little shit. I'm starting to get hungry. We got to switch it up right now.
We got to change a bit.
Speaking of switching it up, Griff, UFC 279.
Yeah.
We already got into all of the craziness that happened beforehand. Just very quickly, there was a backstage skirmish before the press conference.
Yep.
That files it out because all the security was backstage trying to stop everybody. Then you had Khamzat Chimaev miss weight. So then we had to switch up the opponents, change it up. End of the day, we got Nate Diaz taking on Tony Ferguson. Khamzat Chimaev versus Kevin Holland. UFC 279 is in the books. Griff, Nate Diaz goes out with his last UFC fight victorious.
Yes.
Gets a submission victory in the 4th round over Tony Ferguson. Griff, I don't know if you saw this. He got it at 2 minutes and 9 seconds, which is 2:09, which is where he's from?
Stockton, baby.
Poetic. Shakespeare couldn't write enough. Griff, what was your thoughts on Diaz versus Ferguson?
Oh, man, it brought me back to my youth. It made me see some of these fighters who I grew up watching going at it, both looking a little grizzled. They were looking a little bit older, but I mean, still, the fact that they got in there, even the weird antics, Nate Diaz taking a break, putting his arm up on the cage, and Tony Ferguson, for some reason, doing some weird little ground flip right in front of, it was insane. It was weird. It was crazy. It was exciting. And then just to see Nate Diaz on his final fight, potentially his final fight, we still, I'm holding on to hope. I did hear him say the trilogy is gonna happen, so we'll wait and see for that.
Maybe.
But if this is his last fight, what a way to go out! You don't get trampled by some up and coming guy. You go against another legend in the game, and then he finishes off with the headlock, and he's just sitting there flexing on the mat. It was beautiful. I loved it. I know everyone else who watched it is honestly grateful today for the absolute insane mess that was going on leading up to this fight. So, kudos to Dana White and the UFC.
It was vintage Nate Diaz on how he got the finish with the guillotine, flexing the muscles, 2:09 left on the clock. And like you said, you go into, all this shakeup, but you're still in the same weight division. When him and Ferguson are going at it, we kind of saw what this fight could be had these guys trained for each other. Afterwards, Diaz talked about how he didn't really do any sparring. He basically trained for wrestling and jiu-jitsu the entire time. So his stand-up was a little off, his timing and his range, but we got to see Ferguson throwing some of the leg kicks at him. We saw Ferguson trying to set up the elbow by turning his back slightly, hoping Diaz would bite, but Diaz wasn't taking it. They're pointing at each other, they're slapping each other, they're breakdancing in the middle. The breaks on the cage, and like you said, the flips from Tony, it was a bit weird, but I gotta be honest, Griff, did we expect anything else from these two locking up? Even if they had a full training camp against each other, you felt like that's just typical Nate Diaz and Tony Ferguson. Wouldn't have it any other way. Again, as you're watching it live, you're thinking, wait, that wasn't the end of the round. No, it's a minute left. But they're taking a break, trying to bait each other. And you saw every time when Nate would take a break, and if Tony took a couple steps forward, Nate would try to rush him. Yep. Or if Tony tried taking a break, Nate would try to come in, Tony would react. So it was all gamesmanship, trying to catch the other one off guard. A very good matchup here, but Nate Diaz, an absolute warrior, a gladiator, someone who has fought the who's who, hasn't always been victorious, but he's won a whole lot more than he's lost. He's gone in there against some of the best, and good, bad, or indifferent, he's always come out respectable because he's been authentic to who he is.
The people's champ, baby.
He's been authentic to where he comes from, who he is. You may not agree with everything that he says or some of his antics, but you understand that that's Nate Diaz. That's not a character for the press conference or for the cameras. That's Nathan Diaz from Stockton, California, and that's one of the reasons his fans love him. I mean, I've got to take a picture with him. It's freaking awesome. So to see him now possibly walking away maybe for the last time outside the UFC octagon. Now, he has talked about doing other endeavors. There's a pair of YouTube brothers who do boxing.
I think it's the one. The other one is just kind of a... But yeah, there is one Paul brother who...
Well, there's one that's doing professional wrestling right now. Let me tell you something. I understand it's scripted, and I understand there is an idea of who's going to win, who's going to lose. But let me tell y'all something. Daniel Cormier, Cain Velasquez, Brock Lesnar, all these guys who have shown what they could do in the MMA, they have all said that's some of the toughest, if not the toughest training they've ever done physically. Put some respect on the world of professional wrestling.
Believe it. I definitely believe it. I will say, though...
I'm trying to do the people's eyebrow.
You doing it?
Am I doing the eyebrow, or do I look like I got a seizure?
Looks like you might need some eye drops or something.
Okay.
I don't know what's going
on.
on.
I was trying for it, couldn't do it. Okay, got it.
I will say, though, that last note with Nate Diaz, unapologetically himself, like you said, I think that if I look back on his career, especially a guy whose favorite fighter literally had one of the most historic couple fights with Nate Diaz, I look back on the history of Nate Diaz, and I would have to say that I think one of my favorite moments with Nate Diaz is surprisingly after the first Conor fight when he won. He beat Conor, he got him in that hold, Conor taps out, and Nate gets up face bloody, just face absolutely bloodied. And he stands up to the cage and he goes up to whatever camera is right there and he just mean mugs it. He just mean mugs the hell out of it. That was it was the hardest moment I think I've seen in MMA, and it was just I was heartbroken. But even after I saw that, I was just, how dare you go? How dare you look so hard after beating my boy? It's disrespectful, but I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss the hell out of him.
Try doing the pose. I'm gonna do it with you. Look at the camera. Do the pose. 1, 2.
Me mugging that boy, yeah.
I gotta stop making this face because it looks like I'm about to go on myself. But I'm with you though. That was such an iconic picture in itself. I seen a black and white one where the red is there. Oh, it's such a badass. My favorite moment of Nate Diaz, honestly, him winning the Ultimate Fighter, just because, again, at that particular point in time, he was so young and basically used jiu-jitsu the entire time. Kind of like Royce Gracie did when he first entered, but it was when he first called out Conor McGregor, when he came back against Michael Johnson in Orlando, Florida, and said, Conor McGregor, you're taking everything I worked for. Not because he just called out Conor, but because in that moment, again, it felt authentic. It felt like, hey, listen, while I was away dealing with the injury and contract issue with the UFC, Conor's antics, attitude, and the way he went about things, that is exactly how I am. Mm-hmm. But because of the timing, he rose up the ladder while I got stuck here. Now that I'm back, Conor, everything you have, I should be having. I'll be damned if he didn't go out and get it himself. Yes. Again, whether you agree with him or not, how can you not be a fan of him? Nate Diaz, one of the GOATs. One of the best. Again, if you break down the records and wins and losses, never won a title, got it. Submissions, post-fight rewards and bonuses. Who he's fought, who he's defeated, you can't do nothing but take your hats off to him, whatever he decides to do, whether it's get into the world of boxing. He talked about it afterwards. Hey, I want to show these guys how to do it. Your boy McGregor, he tried, he couldn't do it. So obviously there's going to be some boxing matches in there. People that don't know, being in Stockton, you're right up the road from Oakland, California. Griff, I don't know if you know this, but one of the greatest boxers of all time, Andre Ward, never been defeated since he was 12 years old. Olympic gold medalist. He's an American hero.
Yeah, I agree.
It's from there. He's boxing trained with the Diaz brothers.
Oh, yeah.
So you figure, okay, if he's had a little bit of that resume, now if I dive into that fully, hey, let's do it. So it'd be awesome to see Diaz possibly do some boxing matches, maybe some jiu-jitsu competitions. We'll see. Will the trilogy happen, or at least will a boxing match happen between Diaz and McGregor? Ooh. We'll see. It should be fun and big money. As we get ready to wrap up the show here, I feel we would be remiss if we did not mention the co-main event. Hamzat taking on Kevin Holland, which we thought was going to be an all-out war, but Hamzat went in there and just mauled him right away. But, Griff, I got to tell you, as impressive as that victory was, I'm a little uneasy for the fact that you lost, that you came in and couldn't lose the weight in the amount at which you did. Now, his coaches come out and said, I called it, not the doctor. As his coach, I told him to stop cutting weight because it just wasn't going anywhere. What do you think about the Khamzat victory, and what do you do with him next?
My biggest takeaway with Khamzat's fight, I liked what you said before when we were talking about Nate and Tony, and if, you know, the switch up would happen the day before, there was little time for them to prepare for the guys they were actually going to fight. And so I kind of look at that, and this is just a quick note. I'll mention the weight cut after. It's that Kevin Holland, that was a bad matchup to begin with for him. He struggles with the grappling. He wants to strike. It would have been a lot better for him to face another
He asked
striker.
for Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. He said, hey, can you give me a kickboxer?
Give me a kickboxer. He's
with
not
these
even,
wrestlers, man.
He's not even hiding it. He's like, hey, I'm not good at wrestling.
No.
So, like, that, I feel bad for Kevin Holland in that aspect. He didn't have any time to prepare for a Khamzat Chimaev, and he faced him, and he did it anyways. And even though they had spouts in the back, and it's supposedly those two were the reasons that it happened, it's hard for him to see. I hope that he does get a good matchup like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. That would be great for him. As for Khamzat, it's troubling. It's really troubling, especially if you think about the fact that he has goals to fight welterweight, middleweight, light heavyweight. I mean, there was injuries. There's videos of him with the, limping around. He's got the ankle wrap. There's a lot of speculation here and there that he was just injured and couldn't make the weight cut. But I mean, 178, that's 8 pounds over what you're supposed to be. And maybe unless Dana White comes out and says, hey, we told him a day before, we told him stop cutting weight. Like, you're good. Like, we're going to do this big old switch around, and you're going to face somebody else. But at the same time, like, I like what Joe Rogan said in the post-fight interview in the cage with him. Khamzat was saying, I didn't care about weight. I just care about coming and fighting. And Joe Rogan did say, he said, well, if you want to be a champion at welterweight, they need to see you can make weight. Look what happened to Charles Oliveira, and Oliveira was off by what, a pound?
Two specks of rice.
Two specks of rice. A baby's hair with a butterfly's whisper. He was off weight, and it showed that he could make the weight. And maybe there's controversies with the scale.
Very much so.
Yeah.
They didn't want my boy Oliveira say his name right when we were on the show, Griff.
Oliveira, baby.
There you go. Thank you.
And I'm telling you, for Khamzat, I hope that his days at welterweight are not over, because now the welterweight division especially is getting so interesting now, especially with Leon Edwards getting the belt from Kamaru, Jorge Masvidal wanting to throw his hat in, Kobe Covington still being there. He did get a win off of Gilbert Burns. It would be great for him. It would be great to see that he's still able to make that weight cut healthy. We don't want him going in there, terrorizing his health, but at the same time, it's something to watch out for.
It is something to watch out for. We will definitely watch out for it going forward. We will dive more into it as we go forward. But I got to tell you, impressive victory. But, buddy, you got to decide where you're going to be at. Do not end up like some of these guys in the past. And I don't want to throw any names on the bus because I understand weight cutting. Trust me. I'm not one to speak of weight. But if you agree to a weight to fight somebody, you got to respect and honor and coming at that weight. The guys are coming in. They're doing what they have to do to make it. You got to come in on point. But nonetheless, it is what it is. It happened. It's in the past. We're looking forward. Nate Diaz, thank you for all that you gave us inside the octagon.
Yes, sir.
Canelo, Triple G, Fury, Joshua, Wilder and Ruiz? Ooh, please. There's a lot to get excited for in the world of combat sports, Griff.
Yes, sir.
You guys be sure to tune in to the main event right here on Franchise Sports Media going forward for more news in combat sports. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is another episode. I'm Kalani Lua.
I'm Griffin Kemp.
Till next time, fight fans. Peace.